Alright guys, try to make another video in English. I hope to be able to make a 3-minute video every day for quite some time now, because it's very important that the word spreads what's going on in Sweden by the Swedish government. We had a bombing a couple of weeks ago. The whole house was blown in pieces. They had to evacuate all the people living there, and the commercial areas are wiped out. And I think it was yesterday one of the victims passed away. He died of the bomb. And the perpetrator, conveniently, they found him drowned in Gothenburg harbor, I think it was. He's supposed to be a Polish guy, but after a week plus, the autopsy is still not concluded and complete. I don't know how long time an autopsy takes, but it's very suspicious. And this was a big thing in Sweden, the bomb. The PM, the Prime Minister, Mr. Stefan Löfven, he hasn't condemned it, hasn't said anything. He was very quick, correctly so, said it yesterday, to condemn the thing that happened in Norway. But what happens in Sweden, he's dead quiet, because he don't want to bring up his own failures. And Sweden is a failed state. He contributed to his failed leadership. And the Swedish newspapers, front page is all about what happened in Norway. That we have more people dying every day in Sweden from knives, shootings, bombs. We have rapes, we have gang rapes, we have gangs, we have clans, all those things. Can't even find it in the Swedish newspapers. But what happened in Oslo, front page, up to now, I think it's very good. It just shows what the Swedish media, which is financed by the Swedish taxpayers, Stefan Löfven and the Social Democrats is bribing the media. They call it that they're supporting the media as they can afford to run their business. It's not. It's to control the media through bribes. And they follow every little wink that the Social Democrats does. Because if they won't follow, they won't get their money. It's a very, very dirty system. And they complain that Hungary and Poland don't have free media. Well, don't throw a stone when you're in a glass house. Sweden has probably the most locked up media in the world. Everything is controlled by the Social Democrats through funding. It's disgusting. But if you want to know anything about Sweden, you got to read international newspapers. If you read like Aftonbladet, Expressen, SvD or Daily News, nothing. If you watch SVT, the Swedish television, the state-sponsored, well, you'll hear a little bit about the Earth has a few years left. We're going through a climate crisis and all that normal thing. The biggest climate professor the world has ever seen, the most educated guru, is Greta Thunberg. You know, this little girl who was abused and used by her parents. It's a disgusting story in itself. But that's how it is. The parents should have lost the guardianship over their daughter, and she should have been taken care of by the social services, but not in Sweden. Because the mother is famous, she could abuse her daughter in the worst terrible way you can ever imagine. It's scary to see what they did with the daughter. Anyway, I just want to let you know how Swedish media works. Everything's about Norway. A couple of killings yesterday, some shootings, a few other things. You can't even find it in the Swedish media. You can find it, page 8, 3-liner, but front page is all about Norway. It was a horrible tea act that happened by one of the Religion of Peace's members. And now they're trying to cover up and saying that he was mentally ill. If he was a Christian, they would say that he was very well aware of what he was doing. It's just because he's from the religion of peace they're trying to cover it up. But yeah, we have more than 5 people getting killed every day in Sweden through the extreme invasion of people to Sweden, orchestrated by the Social Democrats to get votes. It's we call it vote castle. It's horrible, but nothing's been said about what they do. Even in the courts, there's different rules for them and different rules for Swedish. You have a maximum and a minimum sentence. If you're from the invasion group, you always get a minimum sentence. If you're Swedish, you get a maximum sentence. Everything not to mess with the voters of the Social Democrats so they can stay in power. Power is more important to them than what the Swedish people are and the Swedish citizens. I don't like to use the word hate. I never use hate. I would say I dislike something or dislike some people. I am not fond of you, I'm not fond of that. But I never use the word hate. But the Swedish government, the Green Party and the Social Democrats, they hate the Swedish people. The Swedish people is only there for one thing, that's to work hard, pay taxes, to finance the invasion by illiterate, by Afghanis, by all these people never going to contribute to the society, who just comes to Sweden to milk the social security, and then they're going to move back to their own countries when there's no money left in Sweden. That's how it works. It's disgusting. But I'm glad there's international media that's still covering Sweden. It's necessary. Thanks for listening, and I pity my own country, Sweden. From the best country in the world to it's not even worth laughing at. It's not worth crying at. It's a failed state that it's a full-blown civil war at the moment. People are taxed to death. We're the highest price of gasoline in the world, even though we pay the highest taxes. Everything to finance the invasion. And the Social Democrats, they're so stupid. I will have to use the word stupid. They don't understand that as soon as the religion of peace has enough members in Sweden, they take over. Social Democrats think, oh, we're giving them money to come to Sweden. We're feeding them, supporting them. They'll always vote Social Democrats. No, they only vote Social Democrats until they're well organized to form their own party, which they've started now. They have their own party. Soon the Social Democrats will be hanging in the lampposts, and there'll be history. And Sweden will be the first caliphate under the religion of peace in Europe. We're already there in several parts of Sweden. I would say it's a 50-50 now. The religion of peace and a caliphate, 50% of Sweden. And they're taking inch by inch, minute by minute. It's so horrendous that in my wildest nightmare, if I were a fiction writer, I couldn't have made this up 10 years ago, even if I tried. That's how bad it is. Luckily, karma will be very, very strong against the people who've done this, who's orchestrated a takeover for the religion of peace of our country, Sweden. And the king in the monarchy will be the first one to hang together with the government. And what do the crown princess do? Yeah, she goes out officially, says, oh, we need more immigration, more people, more immigrants, more illiterate, more fully educated warriors to Sweden. I made a program in Swedish with a friend of mine about the monarchy. That the king and the monarchy won't see what is going to happen. And what happened in '79 in Iran, and what happened in Yugoslavia in, what was it, 91. We'll see who will go first. It's very sad. It's something, if it wasn't that bad, it would be worth crying for, but now it's not worth crying. The Swedish people voted to become a caliphate and a religion of peace. So we shouldn't only blame the government, we also have to blame the people who voted for this takeover of Sweden. I'm not sure what name they're going to give Sweden, but it's probably Swedistan or something like that. I would say we have an election 2022. By 2024, the religion of peace have taken over completely. In Sweden is the first caliphate and the first country of peace in Europe. The religion of peace will take over. Thanks everybody for watching. I'm a very sad person thinking about this, because I love my country. But I think we have about 2 years left, because the money is no more. Sweden is bankrupt. The finance minister has borrowed everything she can borrow. And now she's going to be the PM. The lousiest PM, or the lousiest finance minister in the world is going to be a PM. You can imagine. That's the level Sweden is at. A woman whose behavior wouldn't suit a kindergarten. I've seen her in the parliament talking, where she's so rude that it's beyond my comprehension why the Speaker of the House is not having her arrested and thrown in jail. But she's a social democrat. That's a different rule, different law. That's how it is in Sweden. You have the little red book, as they call it, like Mao had in China. You can do anything you want in Sweden. Have a great day, everybody. It's supposed to be a short program, and the future's English programs every day is going to be 3 to 4 minutes. I just made this a little bit longer because my head's burning, spinning, seeing what is going on in Sweden. And when I open the Swedish newspaper, it's all about Norway. The 10 people that got killed in Sweden yesterday, you can't even find it unless you use a binocular or a magnifying glass. Take care, everybody. Thanks for watching. Cheers, guys. And girls, of course. Cheers, girls, for more than guys. Bye.